Hello, my name is Jim, and this is DailyBrogue for July the 15th, 2021. Turned out somehow I didn't have enough time to finish what should be sort of a half an hour discussion while I was doing this yesterday. So now it's 5:50 in the morning, and I am going to try to play Brogue and explain to you what I was thinking about with regards to the present and how that might relate to some of the things that were going on in physics, and hopefully find some way to use the idea of the present to discriminate between different ideas about what's going on in physics as far as quantizing time, or you could say quantum gravity theories and stuff like that. Let's see, how would I start? I would start this. This is the 15th. Good. I would start this by talking about the conference. The conference was about quantizing time. Two groups of people. One were quantum gravity people. People who were trying to say quantize space and time, find some way to describe space and time at the fundamental level, wherein there's a smallest length scale. So a discrete way of doing that, where there are little spots, sort of like there are little spots on this grid here. So you see there's a grid, and there are little dots on the Brogue map, and those are the space. And then each time I press a key, there's an update to the game, and that's the time in the game. Okay, well, very good. Okay, just a regular old flail and regular old splint mail and a couple of bad potions. And there's a bad scroll, very good. Call E a bad scroll. And drop E. So the other group of people were people in quantum foundations who want to delve a little more deeply into things like the measurement problem, right, in quantum mechanics. That ends up having, there's some strange things in there that you don't often hear about. One of them, oh whoops, I was in the right place. Yes, a potion to detect magic, that would be a good thing to have. One of them is that there is no time in quantum mechanics. That is to say, there's no time operator. The operator roughly consists of a measurement, and that measurement is associated with some observables or beables or whatever you want to call them. Oh, okay, what is that for? Oh, it's for something on the other side, but it's just a figment of that corner. Does that mean that if I find that lever, I don't have to do the searching? Is that what that is? Is that something new that I didn't know? Okay. So here we have something different. So I think if I no. Okay, so I know that that war pike is a good war pike. What are the rings? Stealth and light. Pretty good. And a staff tunneling, but a good war pike, as we've seen, is hard to find. So we might want to keep that. And use some consumables. Oh, bad. What does that staff do? It's a healing staff, so as long as I have dudes, that's a good one to keep. Okay. Equip and apply. H. Sanctuary, apply. N. Identify. See what the war pike is. It's just a +1 war pike. Okay, so now if you look at something like Brogue, it's easy to see what time means because time changes for everything more or less simultaneously. Now, there are some issues there to make things a little more difficult to interpret because there are things going on under the surface in Brogue, right? So even though it looks sort of like a turn-based game, it's not a turn-based game. So they're basically sub-turns. They're smaller turns, phases, whatever you want to call them. But for all those phases, basically there are updates. I guess maybe something waits until its phase is sort of ready to update, but still, those phases, everything technically could get an update, right? So it's a little different from just, the world moves forward and sometimes something changes, sometimes it doesn't. So it's a little more complicated, but not much. And that's just based on what needs to be updated for the universe. It's a little more complicated, right? Or at least according to quantum gravity, it's a little more complicated. In quantum gravity, there isn't a specific structure. There is a superposition of multiple structures. So that's sort of like saying that if it's possible for some, it's hard to describe superposition. Superposition is usually a property of waves. We talk about them, but really it's a property of differential equations or solutions to differential equations, where if you have two solutions for a differential equation, then a third solution, that's the sum of the two, is also a solution. What that ends up meaning in quantum mechanics is generally that the way you'd normally say it is that I'm in depth 4. What do I want to do? Is that look at it sort of like a vector, right? So in quantum mechanics, we normally say that everything is in a particular. When you make a measurement, let's say the state is in a definite position, and that position is sort of a well-known position. And each one of those positions is like a direction. So we have a state vector, and each possible measurement is like a direction in space. Okay, so good. Jamping up the war pike. So he's not that great a war pike, but alright, so each one of those is sort of like a direction. So vector might say north and east are two directions, right? And superposition of north and east might be northwest, right? So every vector position can be described that way, or right? Every position in space can be described as a little bit east and a little bit north of the origin of a particular spot, like your house. In quantum mechanics, we describe the possible locations or the possible measurements that way. So the possible measurements that you take are the possible directions that you see. Now I'm wondering something. Anyways. So, when they talk about quantizing time, or when they talk about quantizing space-time, in quantum gravity, that's more or less what they're saying, is that one, we have these discrete spots, sort of like what we see here as little points on the Brogue screen. Right? Those are sort of a quantized space, but it's not the only possible quantized space. So I could have, well, I didn't make this, but another tiling could have been a hexagonal tiling. So that's another kind of tiling. So you could possibly have taken the same dungeon and produced it with a hexagonal tiling, so that, no, I mean, just so that you'd see a hexagonal tiling, so that this would be little hexagons instead of little square grid. Right? This is a square grid, not a bunch of hexagons. And according to quantum gravity, those would both be perfectly good ways to describe this. And they are both perfectly good ways to tile this space. So there's no reason to prefer one to the other. How many unknown things do I have? Not that many. Do have a protect armor though. I've got lots and lots of different potions that I haven't tried yet. Let's use one of those guys. Let's not equip anything. Let's drop R, drop U, drop J, drop B. Give this a Goblin Warren. Identify. And that means there's the big goblin there. That was the easiest Goblin Warren ever. Acid mounds are easy today. Right? So in the past couple of draws, they've been a major nuisance, right? Past couple of games. Okay, so this is where we test out some of these potions. Let's try the pink one. Caustic gas. All right. One of these. Do I have another blue one? I don't know. S is probably telepathy. Okay. So everything except the ones that I can use. So I've got stuff to throw at the dudes. I may have missed some food, but that's okay. Do we need a jelly fighting t-shirt? Nobody's asked for one. I mean, not a lot of people are watching this, but wouldn't you like a Jelly Fighters t-shirt? I was just checking out my old Cafe Press page, so, or trying to, at any rate. So I'm not sure. Oh, it might be one of the old Mad Scientist accounts. So we can talk about that some other time. So, anyways, for quantum gravity, the superposition of these grids. They're more complicated, not strangely, than where did I end up? They're more complicated than this. The grids are, one, three-dimensional. They're mostly connections more than spaces. That's one way to say that. But there's a problem. So when we did the podcast episode about loop quantum gravity, one of the problems that we were seeing was there wasn't a good way of talking about that update. We didn't feel like how time was working was explained very well. So I wouldn't call that a major issue, but it was an issue, right? The question being, these guys have anything I need? No. No, they do have something I need, which is to test some of these potions, because I can't just carry them around the whole time. Some of them are useless, actually. Probably by this step, I shouldn't be doing this stuff. Ooh, there's a potion of strength right there. So aquamarine potion. I have no idea if it's good or bad. Don't even know the probabilities, right? Because I've got so many unidentified bad potions right now. So that one was incineration. Lots of spiders. There's the way down. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. I do not feel like burning that tech magic right yet. Do I have telepathy? No. What I would like to do is find a big group of morons. There's a broadsword. Let's check that out. Okay, so in one sense, oh, that was bad. It's actually good, but lots of scrolls. Yummy mango. Okay, that'll be enough. So we've got these guys. Got this sort of way of 2 scrolls of sanctuary. Probably don't need. Wanted that. So we wanted the potion of life. And we had a potion of detect magic somewhere. Okay, so that's magic plate. So we will equip the magic plate mail and apply that protect armor, P. And we'll go around this way, see what we use. Throw B at that one. That fixes the scary bit for that. Another detect magic. It makes me feel less bad about using a detect magic. Now I sort of feel like a conquistador. So let's see. Descent, good. So now I'm looking for strength and enchanting again. Hallucination, magic mapping. Or incendiary darts and potion of telepathy. I know what 10 is. And just check out some spots, see if we see some food lying around. Those guys don't have anything good, so I may regret that, but probably not. I have telepathy, right? This is scary. See, there's that guy sleeping. So we end up with something that acts a little bit like a video game as our that's one way down. Who's this guy? Does it tell me? No. these are evil. Let's see. Is he in a confined space? She? Or Flamingo? Cloud of putrescence. The zombie, okay. Strength, okay, enchanting, confusion, descent. These two of those I probably ought to get. Okay, that's a little bit better. There's the way up. Lots of eels. I don't know where that goes, so I don't see a good reason to do anything with that. Don't need the leather armor right now. Potion of Descent, an unknown scroll. Who's this guy? Telepathy. Oh, look, some food. I should not have 2 potions of telepathy. Move curse. Right. Nothing I have is cursed. So we have this grid. What is the update? That's the quantizing time problem. And we see here what we could call the present, right? That's this sort of frame of the game, right? That we see right now, that turn. Hold on a second. And what I wanted to think about was sort of that turn, right? What is that turn, right? That's the question. Well, question I was thinking of. Something about that turn, in fact. Something particular about that turn. And, you know, obviously you're asking yourself, well, what in particular? I was thinking about that turn, the present, that's the interface between the past and the future. There was a previous a commutation alpha. See, when I have stuff that I'm keeping around just in case I find one of those, I have them. When I don't, I don't find them. Right. Acidic jelly. You see, rapier. Okay, that's bad. Okay, well, oops. Okay, so that's it. So I wanted to talk about that interface between the present and the future, or the past and the future, which I call the present, which is like a frame of the game. And I think that's less far. That introduction is less far than I was yesterday. So that's what happens at 5:30 in the morning. Well, it's not 5:30 anymore, right? It's 15 minutes later. So, yeah, nothing surprising in here. So, happy July 15th, and I'll try it again tomorrow.